The police state's good, and then your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal, and when they got back, there was only like 11 people alive of the 200 and something crew, and the entire ship was rotting down to the waterline. That's destiny. That's will. That's striving. That's being a trailblazer, an explorer, going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty. It's incredible detail. Tuning into it. They want to shatter your mind talking about Justin Bieber. You know what? America needs mental health treatment if they don't have a pulse. We're going into tyranny. We're giving $85 billion a month to foreign banks to bail out their fake derivatives that have infected our entire Social Security system. I'm angry about that, man. Listen, it was anger that founded this country. I'm the nicest guy with my children. I'm the nicest guy changing an old lady's tires. But I start thinking about the BS of somebody calling me a fascist because I got a pulse. Paul Revere rode through the night screaming, to arms, to arms. The redcoats are coming. The British are coming. He said, get ready to kill people. George Washington signed death warrants on people and ordered people sniped. I'm not calling for that. The average American is the one that has the problem, who hears somebody red-blooded who has energy and who is angry. I'm in this to win it. I'm risking my life. I live in the real world. I've got a big heart pumping red blood through my veins. And I'm angry. And I'm focused on to protect ourselves from the government. I brought that up. Glenn Beck has tried to hold me back while I talk to people that have worked with him. He has 5 guys watching everything I do, taking my news articles. Listen, 4 or 5 years ago, he wouldn't talk about any of this stuff. Now he takes it but spins it in a neocon way, and I'm sick of Glenn Beck. I'm sick and tired of him. He's a punk. He called me a fascist. This is a guy who made jokes about torture and said it was a great thing. This is a guy that supports drones. This is a guy that supports the Patriot Act. I was against all that when Bush was pushing it, okay? I'm a constitutional libertarian who loves freedom, and my views are my own. And that little piece of trash needs to know this. He tries to play this collectivist game of, oh, he doesn't speak for us. He's trying to speak for us. Hey, you jackass mainline conservatives don't speak for me. You're the ones that have discredited true conservatism and libertarianism. Thomas Jefferson would spit on you, you little bastard, you little piece of trash. And that's the American dream. That's what people should aspire to. And if it's mental illness to love liberty and to be angry, well, then I am. You know, if I teleported back to the Aztecs 2,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, and they were chopping kids' hearts out every morning. And I walked over and said, this is crazy. The sun will come back up. You don't have to sacrifice 50 kids. They'd say, man, you're crazy. You're loco. Well, you know what? I'll tell the Aztecs they're loco. I'll tell Hitler he's loco. I'll tell Lenin he's loco. I'll tell all these tyrants they're loco. And I'll tell people that, hey, don't like me getting angry? What Patrick Henry said, crouch down and lick the hand that feeds you. May your chains set lightly upon you, because I'll say what Colonel Travis said at the Alamo, victory or death. That's extremism, isn't it? Knowing a force of 10,000 people was coming, and he had 180. That's right. That's what this is. It's commitment. It's really living. Ancestors and all the things they went through, and the genetics and the instincts, really the race memory of the human race passed on. And I am an organic, caged response to seeing what's going on. I mean, I see it. It's there. It's enemies admitting they're doing it to me. I'm just like, we got to do something. We got to organize. We got to get involved. We got to stand up. And I see the ruined humanity out there, just ruined. Whereas the globalists revel in the stagnant swamp that is the general population in many cases, while they revel in the mosquito-infested sewage pits that they've created in many cases. I sit there and I look at the wrecked people. I looked at how wrecked I am as well. I'm not on some high horse here, and I just think about the absolute instinct of evil to wreck things because it's so low, it wants to pull everything down with it, okay? And you say, Russian agents. The only Russian agent business going on here is that Russia has been captured by the very same globalists and has gone through the exact same crap, but decades ago, we're starting to go through here. So they've already been raped by the same guy now raping us. And Russia's like crawled away into the shadows, finally throwing the rapist off and trying to nurse its wounds while we're getting raped. And the person raping us, economically, culturally, you name it, is telling us, by the way, while I'm raping you, go over there and kick Russia's ass. That's what's going on. And the whole world's saying, no thank you. Launch an aircraft, launched cruise missiles in the area, we'll shoot down all the Russian planes. And the chairman keeps looking at him going, yeah, but we'll have to go to war with Russia. So I don't have the authorization for that. So you're telling me, and basically Obama has given the order 4 years ago, and they're still giving it, to shoot down any aircraft in the air, including Russian. And the military keeps not following the order because they want the order, attack Russia. Attack Russian aircraft. And you know what? I think if they get that order, they'll probably do it from the commander-in-chief, even though he's not the commander-in-chief and they shouldn't. But that's the point we've gotten to with, they're not even operating one-dimensional. One-dimensional. They're not even at the level of checkers, folks. They're not at the level of kindergarten connect the dot. And when I say that, I don't mean that to insult them. I mean literally. They think islands are floating. They think you shoot down a couple hundred Russian aircraft. The first one you shoot down, Russia's. Then more attacks on Russian bases. Next, the Russians roll into Europe. NATO has said they will launch short-range and intermediate-range nuclear weapons onto those armored columns coming into Eastern and Western Europe. Boom! ICBMs get launched by Russia or by the U.S. Everybody's dead. Okay? Listen to you goddamn dumbasses in Congress. Islands don't float, and you cannot shoot down the Russian aircraft in a sovereign country they were invited into on their doorstep while they're fighting Al-Qaeda, murdering Christians by the hundreds of thousands. You can't do it. Just because George Soros thinks he's Jesus Christ doesn't make him Jesus Christ. And a guy in a black uniform and a mask popped up, double tapped him in the head, total black op. Because they didn't want that story coming out, this was all a black op. I've got to sit there and watch weirdos on arrogant power trips on MSNBC lie about myself and others like they're winning, attacking me, because they get to be on TV and prance around and show off to poor people at TV stations and, you know, be cool and be to the DNC and RNC around a bunch of sellout Muppets. The thing is, they're selling out to lose. They're selling out to fall. When you sell out, you don't win. Don't you want to see humanity win? Don't you want to learn what they're doing, the mysteries? Don't you want to find out who's really running all this stuff? No. I don't want to do that. 7.5 billion of us. We got enough weapons to blow the planet up 50 times or more. There's a lot of super secret weapons they developed. Antimatter, projectiles, planet-destroying singularity, strangelet, cyclotrons. It's incredible. And the general public cares what Hollywood people do on movies acting cool. It's all a complete fraud. And I've broken with it completely. Just now, coming out of break, I just completely disconnected from all of it 100%. I still had tenuous connections, but I just now, it's insane. You can see the whole deal. This is a shake and bake operation. And by that, it's pre-planned, it's pre-packaged. Just add milk and heat. I mean, it is just add money and just add a country and you got it done. This is pre-packaged, formulaic, a globalist program. That's how we know their next move every time, folks. It ain't hard. It's like having eyeballs and being able to see it happen. That's all you got to do is wake up out of the trance, and then you'll go, Alex isn't that smart. I'll be like, exactly. I'm not that smart, but I'm red-blooded, and I'm not an idiot. I could read battle plans against me when I see them, okay? I mean, that's what I'm so sick of. I'm nobody. Why do I have instincts? Why am I upset? Why do I want to fight? Why do I care? And so I posted the audio file on YouTube with some images, or technically Buckley did for me. And I saw a minority of the comments, but still a hefty group, going, Alex, what are you doing with these corporate rats? These are corporate chiefs that exploit everybody and do all these horrible things. Why, money's basically bad and industry's bad. And why are you going back on your values? You must have been projecting on me somebody else. Because if you look at North Korea or Russia before it began to reform, or Venezuela right now, or Cuba, they are collapsed, unindustrial, third world, totalitarian, sinking hellholes. I'm not saying that free market capitalism is perfect, but it's corruption in humans that can corrupt any system. What have they done to us to put us into a trance to put up with this garbage? What have they done to us? What? We're turning into a bunch of self-centered, walking dead trash, and we're such zombies, we're such self-centered crap that we don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. And my very spirit is just absolutely ready at every level to we're under attack, people. Where is the animating contest of liberty? Where is the spirit lifted up against these people? All right, I'm sorry. I focus in on the evil. It really freaks me out, and I don't get like that a lot, but I know the enemy spirit. And I start talking about it, and it just gets to me because my spirit gets close to that evil, and I feel it, and my whole spirit just goes, ah, ah, ah. They call that crazy. That's not crazy. That's my will, my human spirit. It's just like a normal mammal. I go, oh, get ready, folks, rally, do something. Look at them. And people are like, shut up, man. The Cowboys are coming on, baby. And then I'm the weirdo because as a normal man, I'm just trying to survive and have a future for humanity. People look at me and they go, you care about other people? You actually care? My problem is you try to help a lot of people and they don't want your help. You try to show people the secrets of how things operate that are hiding in plain view. They don't want it. They like the way they see the world, and they don't care what's really there. And if you think I'm joking, I'm not. I'm not up here to lose this thing, okay? I know how evil they are. Now I'm going to speak very slowly and very clearly because I'm so pissed right now. I'm about to walk off and I'm going to do the show. It has nothing to do with you or even the audience or the crew. It's that I am a bad person because I care. And that scene is sick today. And I'm not up here saying I'm a bad person because I want to make a joke out of it or be satirical. I am a bad person compared to the average person. I am the immoral person that cares. I'm the immoral person that's informed. I'm the immoral person that's involved. I'm the immoral person that's right 99% of the time. I'm the person that just can't roll over and be unconscious and watch pure evil carried out. But if you're in a world of evil, it sees you as bad. And I'm beginning to realize this is your planet. It's what you want, and you want to be part of it. And so you're going to get hurt real bad. If we transcend this conditioning versus where we're going, if we continue to follow the plan that these social engineers have for America.
America has potential. The people of every ethnic and racial group live in America. The whole world lives here. If America could become what Christ taught, or what Muhammad taught, or what Moses and the Israelite prophets taught, America could be the basis of the kingdom of God. That's the ultimate positive aim of those who want to see America survive.
That I found that if you tell young people
Don't go out and fight. Don't go out and do drugs. Don't go, that's for older people or you'll get in trouble. They'll still go do it. But if you explain to them that this is a system and that the system wants them to get in trouble and wants to get them in the system and that they win by being professional, by doing well in life, as the French say, best revenge is living well, that they win, then, that's one of the things I like about the Black Muslim movement. I have some criticisms as well, but, overall, they have that message, and it has really been successful for a lot of folks.
Yeah. Yeah, and the point is that our children are not stupid. Our young people are not stupid. If you explain that this is all part of a plan to keep you subordinate to commercial interests, your little act of violence is a ticket for you to now become part of the problem, really.
Yes. Right now, your freedoms are being destroyed systematically, and men have their development arrested at a very, very young age. To not understand that men are supposed to be informed about politics, the environment, about farming, about helping their families, about organizing together to fight other corrupt groups. That's where all this sports wargaming stuff comes from. It's simulated war. Do you want to have sex with a real woman and have kids and a life, or do you want to have sex with a blow-up doll? This is not even prosthesis, because a prosthesis at least helps you. It's not a real leg, but at least it works. This is worse than a blow-up doll, because you're watching other people have sex with a blow-up doll. You're not even having sex with it when you watch this. You understand that? It's so simulated, because if you were even playing on the field, it's a simulated career, a simulated value, a way to divert you, a way to distract you. But when you're watching it, it's even worse. It's like watching someone have sex with a blow-up doll. End of humanity, openly announced the end of man. Why the future doesn't need us. Hundreds of books, thousands of white papers I read 20 years ago. And now I'm watching it happen. I'm living it. And I go down and there's people with huge mustaches and a pink sock and a green sock dancing with pot bellies. And they go, screw you, Alex. We don't care. And I'm like, it's a master plan to take you down. I think your mustache is cool, actually. I think your green and red sock is cool. But listen, you're not individual by being screwed over by this and by believing that this is how you're cool with smart meters, everything you do being tracked, and all your friends run around and wave your arms, but everybody goes home alone at night because there is no family. None of it's real. You're living a simulation. You're living a fraud. And a true 2.0 in a very bad way, hive mind consciousness with an AI jacked into everyone, knowing our hopes and dreams, delivering it to us, not in some PKD wirehead system where we plug in and give up on consciousness because of unlimited pleasure, but because we were already wired in and absorbed before we knew it by giving over our consciousness to this system by our daily decisions that it was able to manipulate and control into a larger system. There's now a human counterstrike taking place to shut this off before it gets fully into place and to block these systems and to try to have an actual debate about where humanity goes and cut off the pedophiles and psychic vampires that are control of this AI system before humanity's destroyed.
Wait a minute,
humanity
the pedophiles
is only
are controlled of AI? How'd the pedophiles get in control of AI?
The pedophiles at a whatever level,
they rule.
The devil, whatever you want to call it, this interdimensional thing that gives them advanced off-world technology, the fallen one that's not of this world, is giving them advanced knowledge on how to construct these systems that have already been used before on other populations. And our government is one giant murdering mafia.
It is fascinating to me that so few people even know about the Gulf of Tonkin incident and know that there's really it was like a fake incident that got us involved in the Vietnam War, and people have just accepted that. Well, they've accepted that the government is willing to lie in order to get you into war. But so if they're willing to kill people and for whatever their own reasons are, and have a fake event in order to kill people, you don't think they would sell drugs? You think they would have American soldiers killed? They'd basically put American soldiers to death over a law.
No, the VA signed a secret deal that came out in Bloomberg yesterday with 6 million vets to, when they die, steal their insurance money. And the government says it's legal. We have authorized it. I've got it right here in Bloomberg.
But isn't it fascinating that all this stuff is legal? I mean, isn't it fascinating, rather, that all this stuff is public knowledge, that all this stuff is, anyone can go online and find out about Operation Northwoods?
Kind of like Agent Smith Matrix classes. You come to the realization that that's what people are into. And they want the surface. They want the illusion over the reality. They've been trained, especially by television, that that's all that matters. And that's something that the most gutter rock and roll stars or hip-hop rap people get. Have a bunch of women in bikinis jumping around in front of a mansion at a pool, wear a bunch of gold around your neck, wear a crown on your head, and everyone will bow down to you. And that's actually true. The police will bow down to you. The bureaucrats will bow down to you. The whole culture will bow down to you because you're saying, I'm somebody. And within that lie, they can sell you tyranny. I don't crap in the pool, folks. It's because I'm selfish. See, I remember working in fast food in a restaurant. It wasn't really fast food, in between. And people be really mean to me. And I remember people behind the counter, I worked there a couple summers. They go, hey, let's sneeze in their hamburger. And I'd say, I don't want that happening to me. Don't do that. Even though they're an asshole, I'm not going to lower myself to the level. I remember grabbing a guy's arm as he was putting a booger in a hamburger. And I said, listen, I don't care if that guy was an asshole. We're not going to be at his level. Do you want somebody to do that to your food? And see, there is the paradox, ladies and gentlemen. I will not, and I'm not on some damn high horse here like I'm somebody special. I want to know, is humanity really this bad? That like I'm a weirdo? That I don't want to put cancer viruses in the public's vaccine? I'm a weirdo because I don't want to see poor people be ripped off and abused. We went and actually got his reports. In fact, you ought to go to the UT library if you live here in Austin or wherever you live, if it's a big enough library, and you ought to go get Club of Rome publications. And actually, they have them. They're magazines, and you ought to get it out in your hand. So it's not Alex on TV telling you. You ought to flip it open. And you ought to read that for yourself. And it gets a lot worse. Instead of sitting there saying we're not telling the truth. These guys are so arrogant, they laugh about how you'll never... They write books. David Rockefeller wrote one 4 years ago. His autobiography. And he said, oh, I'm for world government getting rid of the U.S. Yeah. Yeah, people charge me with that, and I say guilty. He laughs also in the book, though, that no one will ever even read this. They know you don't read. Then the total currency implodes. Everything falls apart. The globalists come in with police state in the name of restoring order. Then they buy everything up for not even pennies, like they're buying Bear Stearns right now. And then you become a third world nation by design, and the elites are on the hill, and you're down here, and you don't have education, money, nothing to fight them. The corruption's in place. The vertical integration is now in. And this is all stated, all planned, all done. Now, this is how dumb they think you are. They talk about New World Order everywhere, every day, call for world government. But then if you say you're against it, they laugh and say you're insane, it doesn't exist. And then we even argue with them and say, but you said it exists. It's a way of changing the subject or making it a debate about does this exist instead of what do we do about this? And then you never get past the question. Mao said political power goes out of the barrel of a gun. He killed about 80 million people because he's the only guy that had the guns. So we did it to point out that this is globalism, and the mega banks that control the planet and brag that they've taken over, in Bloomberg, AP, Reuters, you name it, brag that they're going to get our guns as well. They've taken everybody's guns but the Swiss and the American people. And when they get our guns, they can have their world tyranny while the government buys 1.6 billion bullets, armored vehicles, tanks, helicopters, Predator drones, armed, now in U.S. skies, being used to arrest people in North Dakota. The Second Amendment isn't there for duck hunting. It's there to protect us from tyrannical government and street thugs. Take the women in India. Your piece earlier on CNN I was watching during Anderson Cooper's show didn't tell you that the women of India have signed giant petitions to get firearms because the police can't and won't protect them. Folks, yeah, you fled here. Why don't you go back and face the charges for the hacking scandal?
Answer this question. How many...
Why'd you get fired from the Daily Mirror for putting out fake stories? You're a hatchet man of the New World Order. Okay. You're a hatchet man. And I want to say this right here. You think you're a tough guy? Have me back with a boxing ring in here, and I'll wear red, white, and blue, and you can wear your Jolly Roger.
Okay.
You know what?
Let's try again. How many gun murders were there?
Oh, you're going to ban your fist now?
In Britain last year.
How many chimpanzees can dance on the head of a pin? I already went over those statistics.
Do you know the answer?
They call us biological androids. Ray Kurzweil and all of them. Zbigniew Brzezinski. You are a programmable guy that goes and watches Olympus Is Falling and believes all this and really thinks you're a hero. G.I. Joe, great American hero. Yo, Joe. You don't work for Joe. Joe got taken over. The G.I. Joe command base is run by Cobra. Do you understand that? And I use a child analogy to get through to you because that's your main programming template in North America. They're on record with that. That was all Pentagon directed. You understand? You work for Cobra. You dress like Cobra. You have the tactics of Cobra. You are Cobra. Hail Cobra. You want to be little boys? Or do you want to really join the Republic? It's all these stupid G.I. Joe movies and stuff where the White House is attacked. The White House is run by Cobra. It's run by chaos. It's run by Spectre. Where they go, yes, the Army and the Marines in Afghanistan, now 90+% of world opium production, it was around 10% before the liberation. Boy, they've sure liberated them now, are giving them the fertilizer, giving them security, and helping them pipe in water even to grow more opium. So we can get a lot of people addicted. So the banks can get even more money, and then more stereos and computers and jewelry and cars can be stolen by the addicts. So that then they can grab the addicts and put them in prison for 10, 15 years, working for 25 cents an hour in slave labor to drive down wages and displace the country overall economic future. And, of course, if you look at the big 3 or 4 mega private prisons, they're all subsidiaries of the big 6 mega banks who openly launder the drug money. So the drug dealers ship the drugs in, use the police to knock out their competition, and then put the users in prison when they're caught using the product they shipped in and use them for slave labor.
Finances much of its operations by selling opium, which is grown from poppies, which are right now being harvested. So here's the question. Why are American troops now helping Afghan farmers grow that opium?
In western Kandahar, poppy farmers score, till, harvest their crop, and the Americans do nothing to stop them.
Oh, they give them the fertilizer.
U.S. soldiers greet farmers.
Can you show me which poppy field is yours?
They commiserate with farmers.
Because if it isn't part of our crew, we're burning it.
I'm very sorry for this field.
Don't pay cut. Shut it down.
Better harvest next year.
And that's why soldiers ignore and encourage the farmers.
Ignore and encourage.
Farmers would blame the
That isn't
U.S. for
ignoring.
their poverty and turn toward the Taliban.
If we secure them having a good harvest, now they're going to get paid for all their hard work, and then we can deal with the trafficking afterwards.
We can deal with the trafficking afterwards. Geraldo Rivera, U.S. government growing opium, they give them the fertilizer, security, and then load it on and fly it here, and we'll deal with the trafficking when your dumb kid uses it. We'll throw them in a private prison owned by big banks that launder the drug money. Let's play that clip.
These troops have confiscated 10,000 pounds of opium before the profit reached the Taliban.
And in a sense, you're watching as this opium is being grown. I know it grinds at your gut.
Oh, yes,
How do you
grinds.
deal with it? What are you doing about it?
Well, frankly, this is a part of their culture. So while it might grind in my gut, it's what they do. We provide them security, we're providing them resources, and we're providing them alternatives.
The Marines are doing the good thing. Dave, Clayton, and Allison.
What you hear in my disgust with these people is the primal survival instinct to get them off of us. To get them off of us. That's what you're hearing. And that's what you need to have. You need to have that spirit. Get off me. Get off me. You ever had a couple bullies thinking they get you down and really start hurting you? All of a sudden, you got all that strength and you just get up and start just breaking arms, man. That's what I'm talking about politically. You got to set your eye on the enemy, not worry about what propaganda they put out. You're the enemy. You're the scum. You're the filth. You're the murderers. You're going down. We're never stopping. Hell or high water. We're going over the top, and you're never going to stop us. You understand that? That's what I'm talking about, and that's what they're scared of, is that spirit. Think about it. We've had a war on illiteracy. The test scores are dropping. We've had a war on drugs. There's triple the heroin, double the cocaine on our streets than what there was just 10 years ago. The prison population has more than quadrupled in the last 5 years. And there's more police, more checkpoints, more SWAT teams in ring wraith outfits kicking down doors, and more cops and citizens getting killed as a result. Again, problem, reaction, solution. Over and over again, government uses crises to scare the population into submission. That is so important to understand. And it doesn't matter if Bill Clinton is in office or George W. Bush. They're just figureheads, puppets, marionettes dancing on a string. This is the New World Order control grid that they can steal our pension funds. They can steal $28 trillion in the last year and a half. They can lie about WMDs. They can launch new wars. They can lie about the Gulf of Tonkin. They can do whatever they want because the public will not face up to evil. They are just ready to buy into any asinine fraud. And again, just covering Building 7, which is the biggest smoking gun, is only one of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of points that all prove this thing was a complete inside job. From government documents where they were calling for staging attacks to blame it on foreign enemies, where they did it in many cases declassified, the hijackers trained at U.S. military bases. The list goes on and on and on. Absolutely open and shut. This is like catching a serial killer in the act of chopping up a little girl, and you go dig in their backyard and find 20 bodies. And then you find videotapes of them dismembering people. I mean, it's absolutely open and shut. And what does it say about the FBI? What does it say about the Defense Department? What does it say about the NYPD? What does it say about all of these people and how cowardly the average American is that these cops and firemen would know they blew up Building 7, and the majority of them have kept their mouths shut about it, knowing it killed their colleagues in Tower 1 and 2. I mean, how mega evil is this? How much worse can it get? What are we expected to accept next? You kneel to this system because you think it's popular and you just kind of go along with it and have a drink on the New World Order and just sit back and drink beer and watch football? That's too depressing, man. I choose to think everything's good. Boy, let me tell you, hell would be locked up with a bunch of guys like that. Hell would be locked up with people like that that just put up with all this stuff. You guys aren't men. You are the equivalent of 12-year-olds who watched Madison Avenue programming and were taught you weren't cool. So your whole life you do whatever the system says, trying to be cool, trying to get acceptance, trying to be part of the system. There is no system. There's an artificial construct that they're trying to insert us into. And before it's completed, we have to sabotage it immediately any way we can. See, I think when I get up here and get angry at the New World Order and tell you how evil they are, that you've got courage and want to defeat them. People that are ignorant send me emails and say, why are you trying to scare people? I'm not trying to scare somebody. If I tell my kids, don't go out in the highway, there's cars will run you over and kill you. I'm not trying to scare them. I'm telling them about a reality that's there. I believe from history and my own gut instinct that if I go ahead and lay it out, all out here, what we're really facing, you've got courage and you've got will, and you're going to get angry and stop caring. It begins with not caring about what your slack-jawed, knuckle-dragging, cowardly, pseudo-tough guy, football-watching neighbor thinks. Okay? That's where it begins. It begins with not caring what happens to your individual person. And when you have that attitude, then the enemy doesn't have anything over you anymore. I want to say something to what he said, okay? Number one, I'm letting it all hang out because people need to stop being put in little comfort boxes and not be the true passionate creatures we are for liberty. You yell and scream for a football game, people say, oh, that's normal, that's nice. You yell and scream about losing your freedom and about lies being crammed down your throat, and people say it's weird. So I'm here about being proud to be wild and to be informed. Now listen, the reason I got unhinged with him is because he said, what's your proof? And I said, I gave him the date of where the CIA admits they've put out fake bin Laden videos before. And it's them telling the big CIA mouthpiece, Washington Post, that's their favorite paper, that information. He just laughed at it and said, you've got a YouTube video. And I said, no, you just heard me. I gave you a source. Then he said, you're little, you're nobody, nobody listens, you're a minority, you're inciting hate. These ideas that they use in Europe and more now in England to shut down free speech. That I can make films, I'm not bragging, but literally, I made films that have been seen 50, 60 million times myself a piece, just on YouTube and Google. And I'm nobody. Imagine when that paradigm finally shifts and people realize they don't have to run to L.A. to try to go make their movies. When everyone starts making them themselves and all that new talent gets turned loose, it's a new renaissance on every front. I don't think the globalists can stop human progress unless one of their little experiments or a war they start ends up, killing everybody. I just hope that collectively, through individual action, we can block them from blowing the planet up.
Well, that's what we have to do. I mean, people ask me, where does the future go? The future goes where the most passionate and virtuous people tell it to go. It's up to us. It's up to the people. I mean, where does the future go? It's where I want it to go. It's where you want it to go. It's where these listeners want it to go. That's where the future goes.
God wants to help us, but we got to help ourselves first and show we've got the courage. You throw yourself in front of the train, you stand up against Goliath, God will guide you, ladies and gentlemen, but not until you take the field. It is not until you take the field that you will feel yourself connected literally to the energy of the universe. Once you take the field, once you step out on the plate, once you make that commitment, that eye of the tiger commitment, that you are going 110%, as soon as you step through that doorway, as soon as you get past your fear, you will truly be alive. And you will stop being flotsam and jetsam that can just be manipulated ad nauseum at the globalist leisure. But it takes getting rid of some of your preconceived notions and the mental symbols that you've been pre-programmed with, myself included. See, this is just a more jacked up version as the atheist saying, you're all animals, you're stupid, there is no free will, but let us run things. Just give up, there is no free will, let us run things. Now they've just gone ahead and said, okay, nobody's buying that. Okay, there's an evil entity controlling everything, and it built this whole fake thing, and it's imprisoning you, but if you'll just come into our little system we built, it'll give you unlimited pleasure, and blah, blah, blah. Well, you can't just be given unlimited pleasure. That's all part of the struggle to build to the next level. And you just think you've arrived because you're copying what the cool shows said. The cool shows are written by psych warfare chiefs to screw you up and make sure that when you die, you have nothing but debt left. And that you've never had children, and you're dead. Because under social Darwinism, you are seen as filth, you are seen as scum, you are seen as absolute garbage to be thrown into the landfill of history. This is good and evil, right and wrong. That's all this is. It's spiritual, the devil's real, this whole thing's satanic, world government, microchips, genetic engineering. It's already here, people. And you're not going to get away from it by joining it or trying to hide. The only way to get out. I'm here with my children. And they basically built this modern civilization as a tomb to bury us alive in. And there's one door to get out of. And the globalist and the minions, the devil, are standing in that door. And they know we've got God on our side, and we can get out of the door if we ask God for the help and then take action. This world government is being deployed. It's being set up. It's fundamentally anti-human. The controllers think that humans are a disease. We're overpopulated. We're dumb. We're stupid. They see themselves as another species in all their literature. And there's basically Agenda 21 is the Hunger Games writ large. Agenda 21 is not imitating the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is imitating what is in the literature of nonfiction books written by H.G. Wells. Yeah. H.G. Wells, decades before they openly invented the atomic bomb, wrote about atomic bombs and atomic theory. These guys are way more advanced technologically than the general public knows, about 30 years. They're playing God. That's why they're so arrogant and stuff. It's used as a simulant to create the archetypal imprint. I've talked to top ad people in Hollywood, off record, they admit this, trying to create a partisan wedge to keep people in the partisan left-right paradigm. Look, man, I'm way past this junior high control. I got that. Absolutely. And we expose the banker bailout. We expose false flag terror. We'll cover real news. Fox won't do that. And so, yes, they are threatened by myself and many others. They've come into the Tea Parties that were grassroots, Ron Paul type organizations, and they've tried to create a twisted clone of that to take over what Ron Paul's doing, to take over what I'm doing and many others. So they see us all basically as a threat, and so that's why they're attacking us. They are there to control anti-establishment movements and populist movements and take them over and steer them into the Republican Party to keep the population in the left-right paradigm so we don't have real change towards freedom and accountability in this country. Fox News works for the very same offshore banking oligarchs that Barack Obama does, and I really appreciate you for having me on. The truth is, they're advertising this is a false reality so that we'll accept alternate realities and alternate dimensions outside of the classical dimensional pretext of the 1st to the 12th, where they can create false realities that we can opt into. I don't like this reality, so I choose the Matrix. I want to be famous in the Matrix. I want steak in the Matrix. I want to have a beautiful girlfriend in the Matrix. But it's a fake construct where you give up your will to a false system so you ascend to a false godhood that is only a delusion. And so this is the great deception. I'm not accusing those that are involved in this discovery of the universe and God of being bad people. It's just that it was always there in the common teachings, the common sense, our DNA, what we knew in every culture. And they just, forgot all that brought us here and said that they've discovered the universe. And now they're going to be your tour guide into all these new dimensions. And, speaking of getting people outside the box, from my own research, you're absolutely on target at the core here that the establishment is expert at hijacking icons, or as Campbell wrote, archetypal images, and then twisting them towards their aim, and then really rewriting all the basic cultural knowledge that every group out there had and replacing it basically only with the New World Order's propaganda. I mean, nothing against basketball players or movie stars, but if that's what kids aspire to be, there's not many slots there. But by making those people the icons artificially and making that the only thing that matters, then kids will never think about being a revolutionary, or never think about standing up nonviolently to oppression, or never think about the fact that they could change the course and be an example to others.